Give a quick thanks to the Tier 5 channel members and patrons. Bob the Dragon, Datamagnet, Sergeant Puma, Cat Crab Lobster, and Duck Machine. Thank you very much for the support. It is much appreciated. Shades of White and Orange. Written by Weerdo5255. Sneaking forwards, Khalif slowly tilted his ears to either side and waited in the darkness. Not sensing anything, he slowly crept forwards towards the statue and the artifacts in its base. Slithering as silently as possible, Khalif focused his eyes on the objects, as if afraid that they might disappear at any time. Reaching the statue and coiling himself up to better hide himself in the darkness of the town square, Khalif stared down at the items. He had seen them from afar earlier in the day, and before then he had never really paid the statue any mind. The alien thing in this pedestal had been another of the odd artwork displayed throughout the city. The color was more subdued, and the creature atop it more alien than anything else. But he had never looked down into it. "Molt, what are you doing here?" came a voice from the darkness behind Khalif. Already tense, the younger member of the species shot up into the air, his body uncoiling and fur going straight in alarm. Twisting in the air and landing, Khalif was faced with an old street cleaner, a man who could be seen at any hour of the day in the city, tirelessly working to clean what little grime marred the solid stone roads and works of art. Khalif glanced back at the statue and then at the old street cleaner. The man slowly lowered himself down, his massive girth moving silently as he knelt down to match Khalif's height, even when he was up as high as he could hold himself on his body. "Do you know what this is, Molt?" Khalif glanced at the statue. "The last human?" The street cleaner chortled. "What do you think of it?" Khalif frowned and looked back at the thing. "Looks funny." "That it does, Molt, that it does. If you think humans look funny, though, you would not believe how strange they were in their actions. Everything the humans did was odd." Moving slowly forward, the street cleaner leaned down and swinging away from the statue base, reaching inside with one hand. Khalif gasped as the man pulled out what had been another piece of the strange art, a small metal tube engraved with intricate and alien geometric designs. The lines were harsh and direct. Each small shape scored into the metal was ugly, but from a distance, these small shapes disappeared, revealing a larger design. An alien animal, dozens of alien animals, stared back at him through the metal. "What do you think?" asked the street cleaner, holding it out and moving slightly into the glow of one of the lamps around the statue. "What is it?" breathed Khalif. "A weapon, a human weapon." Gripping the tube more tightly, the street cleaner shook it, and Khalif watched stunned as the blade popped out of it. "A knife?" asked Khalif as he leaned forward and looked at it. "They put art on their weapons?" asked Khalif, sounding horrified. The street cleaner, reaching into his belt, pulled out a cleaning unit, passed it over the knife art several times before slowly folding the blade away. He put it back in the pedestal. "Not on all of them, but the humans were like that paradox upon paradox." "They would fight wars, but one piece," said Khalif, remembering what he had learned in history about the aliens. The street cleaner pulled down his fur crest, amused. "They did that." Reaching into the pedestal again, the street cleaner carefully extracted another artifact. Holding it aloft, the street cleaner set the object down. Khalif took a quarter body length back as his small device activated, and a small hologram popped up in front of the two of them. Bright blue and green, Khalif looked at the projection for a moment, confused. The continents were in the wrong place for this to be run. "This is Earth, humanity's homeworld. What does it look like to you, Molt?" Khalif tore his eyes away from the projection for a moment. "It looks like home." The street cleaner slowly bowed his head in agreement. "Which is what our ancestors thought, and it is why we attacked them." Khalif frowned, remembering his history. "During the rule of Tanal, The street cleaner smiled. Yes, during the rule of Tanar, when the military families sought to expand our domain as they have always done. You are not of the military families, Molt, but you know what they teach, correct? Fight to protect, kill only for others, and if you cannot save. The street cleaner warily put his ears down. That is what is taught now. Do you know the old motto, Molt? No. Kill to protect, expand to protect. Others are enemies. Khalif felt his fur flattened. Really? Really. You know how many worlds those families took, Molt? Something like 50 planets. 56. The military families took 56 planets from the humans. They burned them to the ground, took everything, and killed every last human on those worlds. Khalif slumped back down towards the ground. They killed every one of them? The street cleaner paused for a moment, looking at Khalif, his eyes looking almost cold in the darkness of the warm summer night. How old are you, Molt? Khalif puffed up his fur and stood up at the last point of his body. I'm 4 years old. The street cleaner considered him for another moment. You're old enough to know the truth, then. The military families killed them all, across 56 worlds, all to take their own planet. Why? The planet was the closest match to our own that we had ever found in the cosmos, and it was the best place to expand into. Why not take it from creatures who spend their days decorating weapons instead of using them? The street cleaner was silent for a moment. We should have learned what it meant. Can you guess? Khalif dropped his ears. No. You are from the arts family, Molt. Would you ever decorate a weapon? Never. Weapons are ugly by their very nature. The military families thought along the same lines, Molt, that if the humans decorated their weapons, it is perhaps an oddity. But Molt, the humans do not have families as we do. Their artists did not decorate their weapons. The military humans decorated their own. Reaching into the statue again, and drew out a sheaf of metal. Burned and scorched, Khalif could barely make out the image on it. It was devoid of many coverings, and as far as Khalif could tell, some of its proportions were wrong. He wasn't sure, though. We never thought, Molt, that if their military can make art, perhaps their artists could be military. When the military burned their worlds, the humans fought. And although they lost, so did we. Billions in the military families from dozens of worlds died. In the beginning, it was easy. Our military families were strong, and they decimated the humans. The street cleaner pointed back at the globe. As the military families fought to reach their Earth, they noticed that the number of military personnel increased, and continued to do so even as their population dwindled. Humans are even slower to reproduce than we are, Molt, yet more warriors came to each battle, more ships, more weapons. The humans who made art, made food, cared for their young. The humans who invented and innovated, who called for peace, had put down what they learned and picked up a weapon. The street cleaner turned away from Khalif. In space, they struck at it in droves, breaking the military families by sheer numbers alone. On the surface of the planet, they used guns and knives or stones and weak fists if nothing else was available. The street cleaner went silent, and Khalif, shifting on his body, looked at the man. What happened next? The street cleaner looked up. We won. We killed them. Some humans escaped into the void. But Molt, you know what happened to the military families, right? Khalif's ears went up. They lost the majority. Is that why the art families and the agricultural families are in charge now? It is. And they were the first to see what the humans had done. Your art families looked at it and proclaimed it to be art, the way humans could change their families at will and learn. Adapt. Khalif absorbed this and bounced up and down. Then it's why I get to learn what it's like to be in a military family when I turn 7. My father says he never got to do that. It is. Khalif bounced up and down, excited for a moment as the street cleaner put the objects away and back into the base of the pedestal. Suddenly, Khalif paused mid-bounce. You said, some survived. I did. Will they come back? The street cleaner stilled. I think they will. You have little to fear, Malt. They won't kill us. Oh, they'll try. But when that happens, you'll know how to pick up a weapon, won't you, Malt? I will. The street cleaner slid back down slightly. You're going to need it, so learn well, Malt. End of story. And that, my friends, concludes this video. I hope that you enjoyed, and